Hello and welcome to Byjus Exam Prep IAS. Let's get started and look into the first article. The first article says tapping technology to check minor mineral plunder. Let us try and understand what is this article all about. When we speak about minerals, there are two types of minerals. One is what is called as the major minerals. The other happens to be the minor minerals. What are these major minerals? Major minerals are those specified in the schedule appended in the MMDR Act of 1957, and the common major minerals are calcite, clay, coal, quartz, etc. Minor minerals are those specified in the schedule appended in the minor mineral concession rules, and the common minor minerals are those limestone, decorative stones, etc. This article currently goes on to say that when you look into what is happening in India, we have enough number of rules that have been safeguarding the major minerals. Because of the scams that have unfolded in the past, the government has been able to come up with some stringent provisions to ensure that there is no illegal mining when it comes to the major minerals. However, when it comes to the minor minerals, we do not have such stringent rules, says this article. So this article here is basically looking at regulating the minor minerals so that we do not have the issues in the near future. Let us try and understand what is this article speaking about. When we look into the minor minerals, who makes the rules when it comes to the minor minerals? It happens to be the state government. So it is the state government which should be able to frame the rules, prescribe the rates of royalty, mineral concessions, enforcement, everything with respect to the minor minerals. When it comes to the major minerals, it is the central government. Certain rules will also be framed by the state governments as well. But when it comes to the minor minerals, it is made usually by the state governments, where they also prescribe the rates of royalty. How is this regulated? When you consider the regulation of the minor minerals, we have the environment impact assessment notifications of 1994 and 2006, which made environmental clearance compulsory for mining in areas more than or equal to 5 hectares. So any place where it has more than 5 hectares, in such a case, whenever there is mining activities with respect to the minor minerals, what we had was compulsory environmental impact assessment. This was only for those which was beyond 5 hectares. But then we have the Supreme Court of India, after taking cognizance of a report by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change on environmental aspects of quarrying of minor minerals 2010, directed that all state governments to make the requisite changes in the regulatory framework of minor minerals requiring environmental clearance for mining in areas less than 5 hectares as well. So earlier it was only for those areas where if the sand is extracted or the gravel is extracted or any of the minor minerals are to be extracted, the size of it, the area of it had to be beyond 5 hectares. But then the Supreme Court said it also directed the state governments that, dear state governments, it is not just about 5 hectares or more, even if it is less than 5 hectares, even if it is 1 hectare, even if it is 2 hectare, in that case you have to regulate it. In that case, environmental impact assessment will have to be made in that particular area, says the Supreme Court of India. As a result, the environmental impact assessment was amended in 2016, which made environmental clearance mandatory for mining in areas less than 5 hectares, including the minor minerals. The amendment also provided for the setting up of a district environment impact assessment authority and a district expert appraisal committee. It is in this particular backdrop we have to understand some of the issues with respect to the regulations. Let's look into the statistics. When we look into the statistics, a state-wise review of EACs and EIAS in key industrial states such as Gujarat, Uttar Pradesh, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu shows that these authorities review over 50 project proposals in a day, and the rejection rate at the state level has been just a mere 1%. What do we understand by this? Whenever there is an industry, whenever there is an organization which is going to these institutes, ideally they should be taking time to consider what these files are. They should also be having a clear viewpoint about this particular project. They should also ensure that this particular project goes through the environmental impact assessment. But when you consider the statistics, it clearly points out for a day there has been as many as 50 project proposals which have also been accepted in a particular state, and added to it, the rejection rate for the project for the mining of the minor minerals has just been at about 1%. So the problem of illegal mining of the minor minerals has been underestimated, thus increasing the environmental consequences for all of us. There have been numerous cases of illegal mining of dolomite, marble and sand across states. For example, in Andhra Pradesh Konanki limestone quarries alone, 28.92 lakh metric tons of limestone have been illegally quarried. We also have the United Nations Environment Programme in 2019, which ranked India and China as the top two countries where illegal sand mining has led to sweeping environmental degradation. Despite there is no comprehensive assessment available to evaluate the scale of sand mining in the country. All this means that there is irregularities. All these clearances are given on haphazard manner. All these clearances are given on a quid pro quo basis, and there is a strong lobbying group. There is consensus among the politicians, bureaucrats, and these organizations. Ultimately, it leads to the degradation of the environment because of the extraction of these minor minerals. What is the impact of this? Regional studies such as those by the Center for Science and Environment of the Yamuna riverbed in Uttar Pradesh have observed that increasing demand for the soil has severely affected the soil formation and the soil holding ability of the land, leading to a loss in the marine life, increase in the flood frequency, droughts as well, and also degradation of the water quality. So whenever there is extraction of the soil from the riverbed, all these are impacted. As has been pointed out in a study of the Narmada basin, sand mining has reduced the population of the mahasur fish from 76% between 1963 and 2015. As per an estimate, UP is also losing revenue from 70% of the mining activities, as only 30% area is legally mined. This also means that because of the illegal mining, on one side there is loss of all these species, and on the other side the state, if it was legally mandated, would have received the taxes, but now it is happening on an illegal basis, so the state is also losing the taxes as well. So on one side there is economic loss, on the other side there is environmental problem. It lead to environmental degradation, and it is us who will be the future sufferers, and at the same time this may also lead to recharge of groundwater process delaying as well, and people would also not get groundwater in the near future. They would not be able to use this water in the near future from the lakes and the rivers, and ultimately every other sector connected to the lakes and the rivers will also be impacted as well. Similarly, the absence of royalty has also caused a loss of 700 crore in Bihar, while non-payment of various cesses due to unregulated mining has also resulted in a loss of 100 crore to Karnataka and 600 crore to Madhya Pradesh in the year 2016 and 17. This basically means that we have to make sure that this illegal mining that is taking place in multiple states has to be regulated. In the past as well, there have been number of judicial orders which have also been neglected by the state governments. There are number of state governments where judicial orders have been passed. Despite the judicial orders being passed, this has not been uptaken, this has not been implemented, and as a result what we see is that these judicial orders are not implemented by the state governments. Added to it, there are multiple other institutes as well. There are weaker institutions. Let's say for example, we did also speak about the environmental impact assessment. From the environmental impact assessment, we did discuss that what we require is the environment impact assessment authority and the expert appraisal committee. These committees are accepting these proposals on a faster basis, that they are not even looking through the papers, and the environmental impact assessment has been periodically violated. Added to it, when you look at the other areas, whenever there is a law that is being drafted, it is drafted poorly. There are lacunae areas as well. There is inadequate monitoring and evaluation mechanisms. Yes, we do have the law. The law sets up one of the institution. The institution has to monitor, it has to periodically evaluate as well, but that institution which is meant for monitoring and evaluating is not doing it, and there is excessive litigation in the judiciary. And whenever there is litigation in the judiciary, the one who is able to pay the money, who is able to hire the best of the advocates, eventually goes on to win the case, and they are even able to sustain this particular process. So in order to overcome this particular issue, what we require is the satellite imagery. So satellite imagery can be used to assess the volume of extraction and also check the mining process as well. Satellite pictures can also be used as evidence from the past 10 to 15 years to show the gravity of issue and also fix the charge as well. So going forward, well planned execution of these directions will henceforth increase the revenue for the country, and at the same time these minor minerals illegal extraction can also be regulated. What we can make use of is the drones, the internet of things, the blockchain technology can also be incorporated in monitoring mechanisms complemented by global positioning system, radar and radio frequency locator. So state governments such as Gujarat and at the same time judicial directions that have been issued like the High Court of Madras have also employed some of these technologies so that we can ultimately prevent the illegal sand mining. So remember, as of now there are these minerals that are extracted illegally, and this has to be regulated. Is what is this article all about? It is this that we have to understand with respect to this article. Now let's look into the next article. This article says husbands of elected women take oath in MP panchayats. The article here is speaking about sarpanch pratis. When we speak about decentralization, what is decentralization? It is transfer of power from the central government and also in a minimal level from the state governments to the local authorities. So what is decentralization? Decentralization is that all the powers that have been concentrated at the central government level, at the state government level, will be given to the local panchayats, so that these people who are elected at the local level would be able to interact with the people and ultimately serve justice. So when we speak about decentralization, there are two types of decentralization. One is what is called as the administrative decentralization. The other is what is called as the political decentralization. What is this administrative decentralization? This is also known as the deconcentration. Basically, this is where power is shifted at the administrative level. Let's say, for example, you have an IAS officer. He happens to be an administrative head in a particular district. So if the powers that this IAS officer is given to those who are working at the lower levels, that is what is called as the administrative decentralization. So lower level central government authorities are empowered, local authorities are empowered, which is called as administrative. Administrative basically means these are the ones who are selected by the process of merit through an examination. Then what we have is called as the political decentralization. In the political decentralization, what happens? We have the elections that periodically take place, and as a result, what you would have is the elected local governments. So in this article, what we are currently speaking is in reference to the political decentralization. As part of the 73rd constitutional amendment, what we had was the political decentralization, which led to the establishment of the Panchayati Raj institutions. So with the establishment of the Panchayati Raj institutions, what exactly happened? Two important things happened. One was decentralization and other was with respect to the reservation. What is happening in the rural area? In the rural areas, what we have is the caste hierarchy. To remove this caste hierarchy and also as a means of affirmative action, what did the government do? The government also started providing reservation to the SC and the ST community, and at the same time it also provided reservation to the women as well. To the women, reservation was provided up to 33%, and in multiple other states as well. Through their local laws, they were also able to provide reservation to about 50% as well. So at the local level, at the panchayat level, what we saw was reservation provided to the women. So what it means is that women are empowered. They also have representation. What they also have is political participation. With this political participation, they would be able to empower the women in that particular region. This is where this article currently goes on to say that those women who have been elected at the local level, at the panchayati level, go on to become the sarpanches but these sarpanches do not actually wield the power, but instead they are just the proxies, but all the power is in the hands of their husbands, which is why this article currently goes on to speak about such sarpanch patis. So who are these sarpanch patis? Basically, you have the women who go on to win the elections at the local level, in the panchayati level. These women who should have actually had the power, they should have been able to come up with reforms. They are not the ones who are working at the local level, but instead they have given powers to their husbands, or it can also be other male members in their family. It is these male members who run the show, but it is these women who become proxies to their male counterparts, is what is this sarpanch pati all about. So basically, in the present situation, in a village in Damoh district of Madhya Pradesh, husbands of newly elected members of Gram Panchayat took oath during the swearing ceremony instead of the women themselves. So women who had won, they should have taken the oath, but instead of they taking the oath, it has become their husbands who have taken the oath. Such violations have also come to fore in Dhar, Dhammo, Sagar, Panna and Reva, where women concerned were among the spectators or at home while their husbands or other relatives took the oath on their behalf. It is in this particular backdrop we have to understand some of the examples in the past, what are the reasons for such attitude in India, and we have to understand what is the way forward to resolve this issue. First up, we have to understand some examples from the past. In a case in Ratnam in Madhya Pradesh, a man had a power of attorney document which gave him the right to take decisions in place of the elected woman sarpanch whose election expenses he had purportedly paid for. What does this mean? This means there was an election that had taken place in Madhya Pradesh where the man had spent for all the expenses of this woman, and as a result she had given the power of attorney to this particular man where he would be conducting all the activities for that particular woman. A woman sarpanch from Odisha also authorized her husband to carry out her duties as sarpanch, saying that she did not do it under pressure but citing domestic responsibilities. Despite she winning the elections, she had to take care of her household core, she had to take care of her family because she had the responsibilities at her home. She was not able to take up the responsibilities of the sarpanch, and this responsibility of the sarpanch was given to her husband, who was able to perform all her activities at the regional level. What are the reasons for such activities being taking place in the rural area? One happens to be the patriarchy. We know for the fact that India to a larger extent also has patriarchy in the rural areas. This basically means that women are under the control of the men. Women are subservient as well. They are subsequious to the men, and at the same time they are subordinate of the male. Being a woman sarpanch is a major obstacle because they do not command the respect at the rural level. That is also because of the conservative nature in the rural India. When it comes to the rural India, you also know for the fact that women have to veil some parda. They also have to put out the veil as well, and it is at this particular point you have the bureaucrats, you also have other officials as well, you also have other male sarpanches as well who will not be able to interact with them. So because the rural society in couple of places in India is conservative and we are dominated by the patriarchal mindset, these are what is stopping the women to exercise her strength when it comes to the sarpanch position. Added to it, we know for the fact that when it comes to the rural India, what the women do not have is the basic education. It is the men who are basically educated. The women are not allowed to be educated. They do not have the interpersonal skills. They do not have the skills to speak to the people, and as a result, women feel they do not have the skills to go out and speak to the people, understand the problems of the people in the society. They also feel they would not be able to interact with the officials as well as to the bureaucrats, and they give out this particular power to their husbands or to the male members in their family. Added to it, in most of the cases, women are only the proxy members with regards to the contesting elections as well, because some of the seats are reserved for the women. Women are forced to enter the elections, and after they win the elections, it is the men who take care of the affairs of that particular region. On one side, according to few, they do not have the skill set, they do not have the education, and at the same time, in few places where earlier it was the men who were dominating that particular region, now this particular seat goes on the reserve mode for a woman. Because it is reserved, they make their wives or any of the women from their family to enter the fray, and ultimately it is they who control all the regional affairs. Then there is absence of the procedural rules as well. What do we mean by it? Whenever we speak about official acts, they are relatively abstract, vague, or unclear. It is at this particular moment these women do not have an idea as to how they have to participate in the process, how they have to deliberate when it comes to the meetings as well. They do not know where the funding comes from, where they have to spend this money for, and how is that the implementation of the policy happens, because one, there is a lot of abstract nature policies when it comes to the rural area. This leaves a room for the dominant members of the village council and the bureaucrats to subvert the theoretical central role of the sarpanch, and they capture the power. And indeed, they do not give the power to the women sarpanches. So this basically means because they do not know how the law works and because it is of abstract nature, again they would not be able to perform their functions in an effective manner. This is why we have the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi ji, who went on to say that this business of sarpanch pati is going on. Law has empowered women. When law has given them the rights, they should also get an opportunity. Bring to an end this SP culture. They women should be given the opportunities. They should be promoted, says the Prime Minister of India. So what should be the way forward? When we consider India, there have been examples in the past as well. In 2020, Rajasthan's Panchayati Raj Department came up with an order. According to it, in case there are any people who are acting as sarpanch patis, or it is the male members of the family who are dictating terms to the women, in that particular case, whoever is the sarpanch, whoever happens to be the women sarpanch, such person will be immediately asked to resign, and at the same time suitable action will be taken against her husband or the male counterpart of the family. Then we also require these women who are very naive to the political ideas, who do not have idea about real-time politics, they should be also tagged with the experienced female politicians. So we have number of experienced female politicians. These female politicians have gone through this political turmoil. They have been able to withstand what happens in the real-time politics. So those women who have been very naive, who have just entered the politics, they should be tagged with such experienced female politicians so that they would understand the nuances of the politics. Added to it, they should also be provided the training as well. The training is how to utilize the fund, administrative structure of the village panchayats and the Zilla Parishad, the rights and responsibilities of the women as a sarpanch, importance of the rural sanitation, building toilets at home, and all women related issues. All these training will have to be provided to the women, and to provide such training, we have to rope in the non-governmental organizations who work at the grassroots level so that they would be able to teach them every nitty-gritties about the sarpanch role. It is this that we have to understand with respect to this article. Now let's look into the next article. This article says climate change fueling rise in the extreme weather events. This article currently goes on to say that because of the climate change, we have number of forecasting agencies which have been not able to accurately predict severe events. We have the Indian Meteorological Department. We also have number of other organizations as well. These organizations are not able to predict because of the vagaries of the climate change. So this article currently focuses on the rainfall. The number of heavy rainfall events have increased. That of the light rainfall events have decreased due to the climate change. Parts of the northeast and the northeast India show a decrease in the rainfall, while some areas in the west, such as West Rajasthan, have shown an increase. The government told Parliament that Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, West Bengal, Meghalaya and Nagaland had shown significant decreasing trends in the southwestern monsoon rainfall during the recent 30-year period between 1989 to 2018, both years included. The annual rainfall over these 5 states, along with Arunachal Pradesh and Himachal Pradesh, had also shown significant decreasing trends, said the Government of India in the Parliament. So the Indian Meteorological Department has explained that climate change has increased surface area temperature, which in turn has increased the evaporation rate, and as a result it leads to intense rainfall, says the India Meteorological Department. Then the article also speaks about cyclones as well. Climate change has increased the instability in the atmosphere, leading to an increase in the convective activity, thunderstorms, lightning, and heavy rainfall. So, the severity of cyclones in the Arabian Sea is also increasing, says this article. Frequency of the mini cloudbursts, 5 centimeters or more rainfall in an hour, is also increasing in the Himalayas, and as a result, this increase in the frequency of extreme weather events is posing a challenge to all these forecasters. Studies have also shown the ability to predict heavy rainfall is hampered because of the climate change. So, what are the measures that have been taken? The India Meteorological Department is bolstering its observational network with the augmentation of radars, automatic weather stations, and rain gauges and satellites to improve predictability. The Ministry of Earth Sciences also plans to upgrade its high performance computing system from a capacity of 10 petaflops currently to about 30 petaflops in the next 2 years, which will help assimilate more data into the model that can be run at higher resolution. So we have the India Meteorological Department, which has improved in the last few years as well. So this has improved from 30% to 40% for severe weather events such as cyclones, heavy rain, thunderstorms, heat waves, so on and so forth. And at the same time, they have also been able to improvise on the computing system. The number of deaths due to the cyclones and heat waves have also reduced over a period of time. That is because of the improvement in the early warning system. So the Indian Meteorological Department as well as other forecasters have been able to improvise, have been able to prepare themselves, but we require more mitigation approaches is what is this article all about. Now let's look into the next article. This article says, why are regulators swapping down on stable coins? The article here is speaking about the cryptocurrency. We do have another video recorded as part of our knowledge series which will explain you what is the cryptocurrency, what are the advantages of the cryptocurrency, what are the challenges and concerns with respect to the cryptocurrency, and the issues in managing these cryptocurrencies. Everything has been explained as part of our knowledge series. The link will be given in the description box. Please do look into it. In this article, what we are trying to explain is only with respect to the stable coins. What are these stable coins? We have different types of cryptocurrencies. One among them happens to be a stable coin. So what is a stable coin? This happens to be a digital currency whose value is pegged to a stable asset such as the US dollar or gold. Let's say for example we have Tether, which happens to be one of the cryptocurrency, a stable coin. So what is it tagged to? It is pegged to a stable asset which happens to be the US dollar. Similarly, another cryptocurrency can be linked to a British pound. It can also be linked to the euro as well. So if there is a euro, the value of the euro increases, then the value of this currency will also go with the market forces. It will also increase. If the value of that currency decreases, this value of the cryptocurrency will also be down. So it is pegged to one of the cryptocurrencies, or it can also be pegged to the gold as well. So the best known stablecoin in the crypto ecosystem is arguably Tether, whose market cap is close to $66 billion, putting it below Ethereum, the second largest cryptocurrency in existence. So what we have is these cryptocurrencies which are called as the stable coins. What is the concern with respect to these stable coins? These stable coins, despite being pegged to the dollar or to one of the stable currency, it is yet not permitted by the countries. It is yet not authorized by the lawmakers, which means investors take on the considerable risk and they also take the financial risk to invest in the stable coin as well. So this article basically is speaking about the cryptocurrency, and everything about the cryptocurrency has already been explained. The link will be given in the description box. Now let's look into the next article. This article says the workings of the Supreme Court Collegium. The article here is speaking about the collegium system in India. An entire video for the same has already been explained. The link will be given in the description box. So please please do look into it. Now let's look into the mains practice questions. Illegal mining of minor minerals continues unabated in many states in India. Discuss how technology can be used to provide a sustainable solution. Next question. Growing proxy politics in rural local body is diluting the ideas of decentralization and becoming one of the key factors in distorting rural democracy in India. Examine. So please write all your answers on the comment section, peer review, and do give positive feedback to your friends' answers. So this exam is more about answer writing. Only if you're doing your answer writing and you're able to time your answer within 8 to 10 minutes, you would be able to clear the mains. So despite prelims being important, what gives you your success to the civil services is your mains examination. The higher the ranking, more the chances for you to get the IAS or the IFS. So make sure that you write more answers as possible and put it on the comment section. In case you also wish to upload an image, you can visit our website and upload your image and also discuss with your fellow aspirants. This is it for today. Thank you for watching. All the best.